Well, when the novel emerges, very quickly, probably within a century, we're not sure of the exact dates when they were written, 4 great novels appear. And let me say something about each one of them because they'll give you a sense not only of just the richness of this form, but also ways in which they're not unlike novels, popular novels we might read today. Well, one is called The Three Kingdoms, or the Tale of the Three Kingdoms, Sangguo Yanyi. For those who like stories about battles and power struggles, fans of the Game of Thrones, for example, this is the book you want to read. If you like the martial arts, if you like novels about heroic men who are driven to be outlaws and live on the fringes of society but are always righteous and saving the downtrodden, then you want to read The Water Margin, right? A Tale of Heroes. If you're into fantasy, if you want to have things go on that are somewhat fantastic beyond normal life, then you want to read The Journey to the West, the story of a Buddhist monk who travels to the West, meaning the Western region, India, in search of the Dharma, the Buddhist Dharma, with a pig, a horse, and a monkey. And that monkey is one of the most popular characters in Chinese comics still today. A monkey has magical powers. And for those who like steamy romances and a bit of soft-core pornography, then we have The Plum in the Golden Vase, the story of Shi Manqing and his 7 wives, a corrupt and corrupting merchant. One of the facets of these novels is that they include conversations among characters, and conversations that are not conducted in high literary language, but are written in a language that comes much closer to daily speech. So the novels are still meant to appeal to a very literati readership, to be sure, but they're trying to capture something about life and daily life that earlier writing and even the dramas had not necessarily been able to do. In doing this, they're also drawing on another tradition, what might be called the minor tale tradition, the xiaoshuo. That word xiaoshuo, minor tale, xiaoshuo, comes to mean, in fact, novels. But the minor tale tradition doesn't begin as an idea of fiction. Rather, it begins as the idea of recording gossip, the true story behind the scenes that no one wants to talk about publicly, things like that. And so the novel is also an heir to that as well. One last point. Another novel appeared very soon after The Scholars was written. And that's a novel that, in fact, is probably the single most famous novel in Chinese history. It's known in Chinese as Hong Lo Meng, or The Dream of Red Chambers. It's also been translated in a wonderful translation by David Hawkes and John Minford called The Story of the Stone. It's the tale of a very elite family in decline, a family that's going downhill, and the children who grow up in a garden, living their lives there as the family slides down. It's a novel that is tremendously cultured. It assumes that you have yourself as a reader a vast erudite knowledge of Chinese literature, and we in fact are not going to cover it in this course because it's too difficult for us to do, but we hope you will find a reason to read it. Now, when you start reading The Scholars, you'll see that it revolves around the examinations. In the next section, we want to explain how the examination system worked. But before we take you to that, we want to pause now and ask you to read the preface that was written to The Scholars when it was first written, and see what you can learn from that about how the author and his readers or his friends thought about this new book that had just been produced.